recently, Donald Trump has gotten his ass kicked all across the country in state-level politics where they apportion delegates. Now, I don't love this system. I think it's antiquated, and I think that it is problematic in a lot of ways. Now, Bernie Sanders has been the beneficiary of it on the Democratic side, but it's slightly different on the Democrats and Republicans. Let me explain. On the Democratic side, Bernie Sanders is picking up more delegates because of voter enthusiasm. His delegates are showing up, and in some of the states, Hillary Clinton delegates are not showing up. And so when they don't show up, they don't count. So because there'll be their initial vote, and then there's the state conventions, and it's called different things in different states, and it's done at different times. But at those conventions, the Hillary Clinton delegates are not showing up. So then Bernie Sanders is getting a bigger proportion of the state's delegates. So he's picked up 24 extra delegates doing that, right? But it does go to show you, one, voter enthusiasm, and two, that Bernie Sanders, for a guy who everybody says is not pragmatic, everybody in the mainstream media, right, apparently has a really well-managed campaign. Hillary Clinton's campaign apparently not that well-managed. But nonetheless, I don't think that should happen. I think the votes should stay as they are from voting day. So that's why I don't love the system. But on the Republican side, it's a little worse. The reason for that is these conventions at the Republican level are led by party bosses and party insiders. So it's not like, hey, the voters that are enthusiastic show up and then there's more of them and less of them. No. Republican officials get together and they're like, how should we rig this? Should we rig it in favor of Cruz? Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So they have been doing that, and Donald Trump is obviously pissed about it. I want to give you the full details and then explain who's really at fault. So in Politico, they write, in Georgia, in Wyoming, in South Carolina, in Kansas, in Florida, Ted Cruz put on a clinic mobilizing his GOP activist base to capture at least 50 delegates on Saturday, while Trump came away with about a dozen, another bruising defeat that undermines his chances to become the Republican presidential nominee. I think they're overstating it a little bit here because at this point, Donald Trump still has twice as big a lead on Ted Cruz as Hillary Clinton has on Bernie Sanders. So now I know that there was more people in the Republican race. That's why it's harder to get to a majority. And I know that a lot of the establishment media likes to count superdelegates, which is totally fallacious because they have not voted yet. They haven't voted yet, and they often switch their votes based on the pledged delegate count. So the media is either lying or grossly incompetent when they count that. So, but nonetheless, for the purpose of this story, the lead Trump has is a little safer than people are projecting. But nonetheless, losing all those delegates matters a lot, okay? So they explain the contest open only to registered Republican voters, and in some cases, only to party insiders, identify individuals to fill delegate slots earned by candidates in state primaries and caucuses. Who these delegates are is crucial. Though party rules require them to vote according to the will of their state's voters at first, most would be able to vote freely if the convention deadlocks them and requires multiple rounds of balloting to pick a nominee. So basically what they're saying is some of those guys are activists from the Republican base. Some are the insiders that I told you about. And they decide, hey, if I pick the right delegate, yes, he is obliged to vote for Trump the first time around. But in the second round of voting, they are not obliged to vote for the guy that won their state. Now, it varies state to state, but in a lot of these states, that's the case. So if you're supporting Cruz, you want to pick a delegate that you know on the second vote will not vote for Trump. Instead, he'll switch and vote for Cruz. So that is problematic. But, you know, there is a way to counteract that. Well, you work hard to make sure you get your people into those slots. But so this goes to the heart of the lie of Donald Trump, the great businessman, the great manager. If I get into the White House, we'll start winning. Well, how are you going to do that? I'll figure it out when I'm there. We're going to win. I'm going to talk to great minds, and we're going to figure it out. But you're in the middle of a race right now. And when it matters, you are totally incompetent at managing your team. You can't get the right people to the right place. You can't win. You're not winning on the state level in these contests. You're great at capturing the public attention and getting media attention, and hence winning some, not all, but some of these states. And I'll give you credit for that. But when it comes to the hard work of figuring out how you're going to actually pick up those delegates, you're kind of a loser, which is exactly why his businesses went bankrupt 4 different times. because he's a big loudmouth. And yes, he gets everybody's attention. But when it comes to actually running anything, whether it's a business or his campaign, the guy doesn't know anything. He's a terrible manager. You're getting your ass kicked left and right by Ted Cruz. He's outmanaging you in an obvious way. So what's Trump going to do instead? Of course, he's going to cry about it. Classic Trump. He says that a lot of this is because the party insiders want to get greased. Now, there's probably some element of truth to that. I don't know to what degree, but here's what Trump says. He says, look, nobody has better toys than I do. I can put them in the best planes and bring them to the best resorts anywhere in the world. You're basically buying these people. You're basically saying, delegate, listen, we're going to send you to Mar-a-Lago on Boeing 757. You're going to use the spa. You're going to use this. You're going to use that. We want your vote. That's a corrupt system. Okay. You think Donald Trump is so principled that he wouldn't do that? No, he didn't think to do that. He wasn't organized enough to do that. Now, in hindsight, he realizes, God damn it, we should have done that. Okay. You know, he complains about all the donors pulling the strings and money in politics. But then when you ask him, are you going to get any of the money out of politics? No. He doesn't care about that. You think he cares about restoring free and fair elections? No, he just cares about Donald Trump and getting Donald Trump into the White House. The rest is all, window dressing. So, if he were making a real case to change a corrupt system, that'd be interesting. Afterwards, he's complaining that, shoot, I could have sent him to Mar-a-Lago. Right? Reminds me of after Iowa. He complained because he didn't know what a ground strategy was. Oh, my God, you're running for president. If you were running for dog catcher, you should know what a ground game is. A ground game is get out the vote. Get your voters excited to actually show up and vote. And have supporters on the ground that help them do that. And even before the get out the vote, have supporters on the ground activating your voters throughout. Running for president, goes into an Iowa election, doesn't know what it is the day after, admits he didn't know what it was, and then cries about it. Oh, you buffoon, you incompetent ass. You tell me we're going to be winning when you're in the White House? I can't imagine the disaster we're going to have if he wins the White House. Now, finally, if all that is not enough, well, let's go the extra mile here and threaten violence. So here's what Trump says. According to the New York Times, Mr. Trump said that he hoped the July convention, quote, doesn't involve violence. And he went on to say, quote, and I don't think it will, but I will say this, it's a rigged system. It's a crooked system. It's 100% crooked. This is the classic Donald Trump trick. I'm not saying there's going to be violence, but I could see why people would be upset. As we've said before, this is what fascism looks like. Hey, you know how you can avoid the violence? If you actually were in any way competent and could actually get the delegates that you won to show up. Then you'd be winning instead of losing as usual.